Live. Hey, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the F13 podcast with Brian. And with me, as always, is
Cliff Blazinski.
Last
time I checked. What's going on, people? I just am late again. I'm usually not late. I'm usually a very punctual person. My wife's the one who's usually late. But I was on YouTube watching the honest trailers for Backrooms, which I was dying to see. And I didn't get to finish it. I'll be back watching that after this. But today we think should be a lot of fun.
That might have been the quickest you've thrown Lauren under the bus. 20 seconds of being
She's
late.
An amazing woman, but she's not the most punctual. She's always late, but worth the wait.
Well, to be fair, you're punctual, and I do know your thing with time. You're punctual is like right on time. So I've been sitting here for 30 minutes.
Well, with my whole just sit there like it's
waiting.
Hello. Is anyone there?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I should have actually been here a few minutes early because my setup, as you know, has been on the fritz. Like, you know, it will work in Google Meet, will work and sometimes work in Zoom, sometimes work in Microsoft Teams, whatever the fuck they're using these days. And I got this since I got the fancy new mic. Sometimes the software gets all confused, and technology is why I drank. So
I have a hamster right off screen running nonstop during the show to keep this.
Yeah, that's it. When the lights dim, that's when the hamster gets tired.
Right. So I said, come on, hamster. We got a fun guest today. Old friend of yours, not in gaming, but as a friend, an interesting guy. He sent us a bunch of topics, and I'm very excited to go into this stuff.
Look at all that topical. It's 2 sheets even.
You printed all that stuff, which is amazing. Let's bring him in, everybody. Let's welcome into our guest today. Jason Mueller is here, everybody.
Thanks for having me.
Definitely.
The honor is mine.
Yes. You guys go way back, I heard.
I think it's honestly at this point about 20 years.
Yeah. I don't know why I looked at my clock.
We met about 2 p.m. today.
So the timeline in the multiverse.
Yeah, we met probably 20 years ago. I think we were chatting about it a couple days ago, but I just watched the Video Game Awards, I believe, and I saw Cliff. I think you were hosting it. It was one of those shows, and like later, I was out at Flying Saucer, and I think that's Cliffy B. And I walk up, and Flying Saucer is this cute little spot in Raleigh.
That's where we do like a monthly show. Me and Cliff. We're starting.
Oh, cool.
So yeah, we know it very well. Yeah.
Full circle.
Awesome.
Look at that. It's amazing.
Crazy. It was also the only place you could get like $2 pints, and so they had like hundreds of beers that were $2, which is kind of like
it was college night.
Yeah. And so I'm pretty sure that was Cliff. I came up not really thinking about it, and I was like, "Hey, Cliff," and he like turned around. And he's like, "Go away, nerd."
I didn't say that.
It was something. I just assumed you were probably approached a bunch. So I went and got you a beer anyways. I handed you a beer, and I kept walking, and then you came back over, and you were very nice. I think you were kind of like, "Sorry, it was a gut reaction." I imagine most people just walked up and wanted to talk about video games for hours, which you probably didn't want to do, and why you were at the bar in the first place.
Yeah, I mean, it was one of those things where you were interesting and funny and cool, and most importantly, you laughed at all my terrible jokes.
That helps.
Oh man!
For those of you who don't know, I've always teased Jason by the fact that he, for those of you who are familiar with the Muppets, he laughs like a Muppet. Ironically, I have Grover on my shirt, but when Jason laughs, he tilts his head back and he kind of unhinges his jaw and kind of laughs like that. When it's a good belly laugh, otherwise
hopefully
he just kind of goes.
That. Hopefully
it is. Yeah, it is. It's fun. I think laughing's great. I liking to get other people to laugh.
And
I think I have like Cliff and I have like a Venn diagram of buddies too, and I think like it's definitely the sharpest wit, most sarcastic, like dry humor, but like the speed is kind of like rare, I think. And yeah, I think both of us would just crack jokes all night, and then I'd wake up, my stomach would be like hurting from laughing, basically.
Oh, I mean, we talked to like locals and like Raleigh college kids, and he and I would just play volleyball like right over their heads, making jokes and like just singers, and the people would be like, "Oh, Yeah, what? And he and I just be laughing and like we're both smart enough to know we're not always the smartest guy in the room, but some of these folks were just like, what? Did you not get that? Like, was
Yeah.
that good? And he and I are just like laughing our asses off. But it was definitely a different era where I was running from a crumbling first marriage and chasing into with barley and hops for my medicine during that time period. And I think I was almost out of the first marriage at that point. And I was just, living in downtown Raleigh and just going to, the local establishments and building towards having my plate on the wall of that esteemed
Yeah.
establishment.
Yeah, tell people about the saucer itself. It's like a
I
pretty unique thing I haven't seen many places.
I think we've mentioned it in the past, but yeah, you have your name on a plate because once you drink all, is it 300 different beers there?
Yeah.
They give you like a saucer, a plate, and they hang it on the wall. And this place has over 1,000, it seems like, plate all over the wall, and with your name on it and the date. And yours says Cliffy B Beers of
Yeah,
War.
they limit it to like 2 or 3 beers a night because if they
Yeah.
had like a computer thing, like if you drank more than like X beers versus Y days, then it's like, okay, let's stage an intervention with the family.
That's right.
It's important. It's important to have limitations, for legal reasons.
They cover all their bases there. Yeah,
It was cool
But
because like they had a machine where you could like select these different beers and it kind of worked through them with you and you get the tickets. But like you definitely had to work through some bad beers too.
Yeah.
There were
But
the
dude,
big, like,
you could hack it. Like that's the thing is, if you became friendly with the server girls and tipped them decently, you could just be like, yeah, just give me a gaffel Kolsch, and like they instead of Dirty Dick's Yingling Lager or whatever the hell it was, and
Take
they
the
give you the
saucer
beer
down.
you like.
this one tastes like socks. Yeah, I'll skip that one. I'll go with the apple one next.
I'll have the 5 years sour poontang.
Right.
It just somebody online has to make the shitty beer name generator, but I just like also I was watching my girlish figure back then and not getting chonky like these days, and
Still got the same
and
figure.
I still got the plate which says Beers of War on it. Do you get it? Do you get it? Beers of War.
That game you did. Exactly.
I do remember. So I do remember it too. Like I was probably 21 years old, but that condo that you had off Glenwood, is that
Yeah,
right?
it was basically a Boylan and Peace, the Paramount.
Yeah, I think you bought like 2 condos and like convinced the building to let you like tear down concrete between them. And like as like a gamer nerd, man, like that place was like paradise. You go in the memorabilia is like host up. I was like telling my friends, all week, they're like, that sounds insane.
That's like what Shaq did when he had to buy, like, he wanted a Lamborghini or a Ferrari. He had to buy 2 and smushed them together. He cut it in half and put them because he was too big for a Ferrari. So you're like, I want 2 apartments. Let's just smush them together.
I remember hearing that like those sports car, mega car, supercar places actually offer like NBA packages where it's literally an extended cab now. Maybe that was the reason for that. But I basically built the ultimate bachelor pad in the bar district, and then right as they just finished it off, then my love of my life shows up. I do not throw her under the bus that often, Brian. For the record,
I'm just joking. She's not listening. She's not listening to this.
She's doing her Twitch thing, so she can't hear me. But yeah, and then she shows up right when I have this banging bachelor pad, and I'm like, oh damn it, I have to marry you now. Yeah. And the rest, it's as of this August 4th, it will be 14 years, and Jason was actually at our wedding, for the record.
Great wedding in San Diego. My in-laws are out in San Diego, so we go back a good bit now. And nice. You guys did the safari park, right? It
was at the safari park, but there's this the video of the rehearsal dinner where I had hired the monkey from The Hangover.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
Yeah, I surprised Lauren with it because every year we rewatch our wedding video, and I always get a little misty eyed. And I think nostalgia is good and bad sometimes, but I think for a marriage, it's good to occasionally watch that and be like, man, we really loved each other back then. And but you can see the shot where the monkey finally shows up, and Jason's in the middle of like talking to somebody, nursing a margarita, and then he's like, "What the hell's going on right now?" And then
what's in this margarita? Is that a monkey?
I think he got a photo with the monkey, right, Jason?
Yeah, awesome. Definitely. It was crazy. A good cameo.
Well, the funny thing was there was a show called Animal Hospital or something that was on like NBC at that time, and we were flying out to San Diego, and as Lauren was watching it on, or maybe there's an ad for it. This is back when they actually, God, years ago, where they actually had those little monitors that came down like, right?
Yeah.
And she's like, oh, look, and she had already like done her homework. There's Crystal the monkey. Oh my God. And I'm sitting there going, and I'd already pulled my strings to have the monkey show up, and she was sweet, and she has a very impressive IMDb. For those of you who are curious, go to IMDb and look up Crystal the monkey. And
No,
Crystal's always playing a he, but Crystal's actually a she.
when a monkey has more credits than me, that's when I start getting angry.
Yeah, totally.
That's when I'm mad at my career.
So yeah, we stayed in touch, and Jason always had his eye on the ball in tech, and I wanted to be like, I did the video game thing, but you were always, interested in, these people in Silicon Valley that not only raised funding, but also, eased pain, and I'll never forget this guy that I knew, Alex Garden, who I was on the cover of PC Gamer with many years ago. He moved to the Bay Area, and his pitch was on a phone in your app where within 20 minutes, the best margarita pizza you've ever had will be delivered to your house or condo, like piping hot. And you did that somewhat similarly, if I recall, with quinoa, right?
Oh gosh, with Itza was a very fun story. Yeah, that came after.
Let's hold on. Let's dive in what you actually do. That might help this next story.
Oh yeah, sorry, I jumped ahead there.
It's like give it, because you have a lot of game devs on this show. What is like? Give us a quick background as far as like your
What we're doing now is really, really fun and cool, and like I think the game dev community would have fun with it. But we basically have built a bunch of like really hardcore physics models, and so what we do is we create a digital twin of property assets. So right now it's residential, but we'll eventually do commercial. And then we simulate catastrophic risk on those digital twins using computational fluid dynamics. So you can imagine big ass 3D space trying to measure like thermal load between little cubes within that space. And so everything within those little cubes has a feature or measurement. So like a leaf has a certain mass, it's going to burn at a certain property, it's going to put off a certain amount of heat. We then measure how that heat transfers to the different parts of the parcel and structure. We then price all of those features from an insurance point of view. So for the first time ever, a homeowner can get really transparent pricing on like, why are my insurance premiums basically. And then Dan Preston, who Cliff also knows, one of my best friends, both of those guys were groomsmen. We went and basically started a company built around that. And so we've been in market about a year and a half. We've placed over, I think, $6.5 billion worth of coverage. And it's, the problem is pervasive, right? You see in California wildfire, it's almost impossible to get insurance out here now. We have insurance policies that, go from, $4,000 or $5,000 a year up to $250,000 a year for homeowners insurance. These are big homes, right? $3 million up to $20, $25 million homes, but no one can get coverage. And so Dan and I dug into why, and most of the major carriers are using these backwards looking location-based models. So, that worked great for a while. You get enough claim data and you can predict the attritional loss of an asset. So, I've seen this home before, I've seen this homeowner before many times. I can get pretty accurate on predicting the total profitability of that asset. But the exponential increase of catastrophic risk like broke all the models, because now you have all these storms showing up, whether it's wildfire, severe convective storm, flooding, hurricane, and it turned a lot of those books upside down where they're super unprofitable now. Dan and I like to think about it as we're coming in like surgeons almost and really working with homeowners to make that safer. And then the performance of our book is really great. And it's also great when people have to have what you sell and you can't buy it anywhere else.
Yeah. I feel like 80% of that went over my head, but I do get the gist of what you're doing. That's awesome though. That's something that's like, I never would think, oh yeah, that seems to be an important thing. Figured out.
It's so fun because the team we have to hire to pull that off, you can imagine, is almost like a game studio. You need people who understand physics. You need subject matter experts in like high performance computing. You need folks that can figure out how to sell the thing, right? What's the narrative or storytelling you put in front of the homeowner so that they can partner with you. Like there's a whole bunch of roles, and then we have to have all the traditional industry folks to show that we're not naive to the fact that at the end of the day, we're trying to drive a profitable insurance book.
Yeah.
But it's great. Like, I work with my best friend, which I'm sure that works great sometimes and awful other times.
Yeah, when it works great, it's amazing. When it doesn't, you lose a friend and a business, right? Two seconds. My dog's being an idiot. Discuss amongst yourselves.
Yeah. We'll talk amongst yourselves. So I know you mentioned before in one of the emails that your gaming background starts all the way back with NES, and then you got into early MS-DOS stuff, right?
Yeah.
Which I did as well. Tell us about like that. Like, what was some of your earliest Nintendo memories, if you remember, or even just the Windows 3.1 stuff, whatever you were doing?
Yeah, totally. Yeah, I mean, I think some of my funnest and most frustrating, going back to games was the Ninja Turtle game where you have to swim through the electric. Yeah, and my 4.5-year-old son loves Ninja Turtles now.
So do I, and I'm 46. Whatever.
It's a forever IP, dude.
It really is. It really
I'll
is.
introduce you guys.
Yeah, definitely. We'll hang.
It's where you had to swim through the electronic.
Yeah, the sewer
level, and I remember actually crying.
The dam.
And my dad came down and just sat there with me for hours and beat the level finally. And I remember,
I think what people forget about that is that it's very early in the game, that part, and this is very similar to Battletoads. The speed tunnel is the third level, but the sewer, once you do it, it's fine. The rest of that game is so hard for Turtles.
Yeah.
And the rest of Battletoads is so infinitely harder than that speed tunnel round. People never even made it past level 3, don't even realize, wait, this game gets even harder? This is supposed to but the Turtle game, while it looks great, sounds great, also, it is not a great game because it is so freaking difficult. And it was the first Turtle game we had, and it's like, okay, I'm gonna pretend this is fun for the next 10 years, but I'm really hating playing this game.
I think it was Ultra Games that put that out. It was. Yeah, it wasn't until we got the arcade beat 'em up,
which is
really
still perfect. The arcade is still perfect.
My toe.
Right? Yeah. Who put the lights out? Yeah.
But I mean, go back to that game for a second. That was the birth of the shitty water level.
Yeah.
Right. It's a time-honored tradition. Even Jazz Jackrabbit had shitty water levels. And then you go to the water temple in Zelda. That was a shitty water level. The swimming in Mario has always sucked. There's never been. I challenge the viewers to tell me a good water level. I don't think BioShock was basically one big water level, but you were inside most of the time.
Totally.
Even now, when you go,
it feels slow. Your actions are usually bringing you up, and you're waiting as you sink, and then you're praying you don't hit whatever crap they throw at you, below or above.
And then you're worrying about your air levels.
Yeah, this is what made you get into this whole physics stuff, floating.
Yeah, that's right. I just carried that anxiety through with me to this one.
I can do the Battletoads speed tunnel with my eyes closed now. I've done it a billion times, but that game, level 7, 8, 9, it gets so unbearably hard. And that turtle, the very last turtle level with the Technodrome, first of all, it stutters from it gets so slow and choppy because the Nintendo couldn't handle that, and it's just so hard. It's enemy after enemy after enemy, and then Shred is actually pretty easy to beat, to be honest. Once you get the hang of it, but that level is just like, my God, this is impossible. It made it so much not fun. Yeah, it should have been funner, but that's what they did.
Yeah, so Brian, do you think you'll play Battletoads at Retro Bits?
No, because it's a great game. So I don't want to.
So Jason, if you don't know, the whole flying saucer thing, Brian and I get together sometimes with guests, and we'll just do Mystery Science Theater 3000 for shitty old video games.
I find really bad games and we play them with the crowd. I got a bunch of really bad arcade ones. By the way, the next show is July 30th for people that are listening this week.
Cool.
It's I got some really weird games that I found that I don't know if anybody's ever played before.
That's awesome.
So I can't.
And the audience participates too. It's really a good
very fun night. Yeah.
I think I saw you post that clip, and I thought that idea is genius. Just go somewhere, grab a few beers, watch people play.
But that's it.
Have fun.
And the crowd can be
encourage
loud.
the audience.
Yeah.
The audience participates sometimes. We'll get stuck. We'll just be like, hey, you think it's that easy? Here, you take the controls. And a random person starts playing it. And it's actually it's a lot of fun. And, it's funny. It's irreverent. And it's slowly but surely starting to get some traction there.
Yeah.
I have a good time doing it.
Community too. And this would be up your guys' alley. But there's this other guy who I'd met out in Raleigh. He lives in Southern California now, but he started up a backyard comedy group. This guy Dan, and it's called the Larchmont like comedy series or something. And it started with like 4 or 5 or 6 people. It's grown to like the last photo I saw looked like 150 people crammed in his backyard. And he's starting to get decent headliners now coming
That's
out
cool.
and doing this comedy. And then he started this club called the Dilfs of Larchmont, and it's Dad I'd Like to Friend. So all these dads, you'll see.
Not gonna lie, you had me in the first half.
Yeah, you'll see these guys walking around. They Conan, I guess, his team writes somewhere down on that strip. So they put a package out there addressed to him, and they put one of the DILF hats in it, and he brought it out on his show. And so he gave all these guys all this like publicity,
Right.
which all like goes back to this cool like backyard comedy thing that he set up. But
I mean, that's also a statement on how like so many awesome things just start little like that.
Yeah.
Right? And, like, you know, you look at San Diego Comic-Con, which is going on right now. We're not there this year. We usually go. And it's one of those things that it started just a handful of dudes playing like Magic the Gathering or D&D and like, you know, a handful of card tables. And then the game developer conference in San Jose started in a similar way. And it's like-minded people getting together, and then word gets out, and then a big company buys it, and it all goes to shit. That's right, I said it.
Does GD still go out here?
Does what?
Does the game developer conference still go out in San Francisco?
Yeah, they're still doing it in San Francisco over at the old Moscone Center.
Yeah.
And I haven't gone in years. And it's one of those things. It's now at the point, it's kind of like the friend you haven't talked to in a while. And then like if you message, it's kind of weird. And so it's kind of like I haven't really been actively working in games in a while. So it's kind of like I don't want to like go to that. And then there's going to be a lot of people like, hey, how you been? What's up? Give me a hug. And the first so many years was like, oh, hey, honey, this is so-and-so. We go way back. And she's like, how far back do you go? Blah, blah, blah. Then there's going to be people that's like, hey, you, what's up, dude? What the fuck is that person's name? I don't know. Because Jason and I both know my business partner in the restaurants, Niall Hanley, the big old Irishman. And he's the master of, you know, he knows so many different people, meets so many people, likes to drink a little bit. So, you know, we go out with him, be like, Doctor, how are you, Captain? What's up, big boy? Like, coming up with all these names. Oh, this barbarian guy. Like, what the fuck are you talking about, dude?
Yeah.
And that's the whole, like, I don't know this person's name. And that's the whole, like, how to make friends and influence people. What's the most important word you could ever say to a person? Their fucking name, right? To which, you know, I'll shake somebody's hand. Hi, I'm Cliff. Nice to meet you. And the second they're like, I'm like, and he goes,
Anybody catch that? Anybody catch that name?
And then I'll do this. Okay, this is Rick. He's got red hair, red Rick. God, and like those stupid little things you do in your head. And then like that's the thing is, you know, Jay, both of you are familiar with the fact that like I quit the sauce, I quit drinking 4 months ago yesterday. Yeah. But I decided, you know, like let's do group. You know, let's go to one of these, you know, outpatient things.
There we go.
3 hours for 3 days a week, 3 hours. And like I wanted to know everybody's name. And there's sometimes a revolving door. And I would literally write down like, you know, John, blue polo, khakis.
Yeah.
I quickly learned, Jason, I'm going to go back to SRDs in a second. So stay with me. There's generally speaking, there's all sorts of different types in a group setting like that. They're all in recovery. We're all in this together. And that's one of the things I learned about all of it, that, you know, we all have our struggles, you know, we're all dealing with substance abuse, but I saw certain categories that emerged. One of them was the wine mom. And the fact that that's been normalized in society, you know, the little, like, you know, the little nice signs, like, don't talk to me. Mom's had her wine. It's 1 o'clock somewhere. And go to Target. And you see that. And like, this is normal now. Okay. And then the other version of that is the golfers. And a couple of the guys are like talking about the whole, like, yeah, you know, we go to the course and by the fourth hole, the girl shows up with the golf cart and we're doing fireball shots at like 10 a.m. And I'm like, okay, A, early, and you're not supposed to judge, of course. But then B, I'm looking at the dude. I'm like, you're what, mid to late 40? You're doing fireball, dude? Like, what the hell? And there was that common thread with those like very typical archetypes. So let's take the addiction and the people trying to heal and be proactive about that. We'll put that over here to the side and talk about the wardrobe. Because I swear to God, there was a meeting in the South where all the guys got together and they're like, all right, we need a wardrobe. What's it going to be? And one guy's like, polo shirts, because it's casual, but it has a collar. it's got a little logo. So that means you're casual, but you're classy. Ooh, that's good. Let's go with that. But I like my jeans. But you don't want to be wearing jeans. Don't wear jeans out. You want to be wearing khakis. But it's really hot out. Okay, so I'll wear khaki shorts. Okay, but my feet get warm. All right, well, wear your flippy floppies or some shit. But it gets sunny out during the day. Okay, so wear a visor.
You're not wrong with this. You're not wrong about this.
I have my sunglasses, and I don't want to put them on my visor. Where do I? Oh, get that little thing around your neck. Those, what is it, croquis, or the little thing that if you're on the boat, you drop it, it still floats. We'll be good. And then by the eighth hole, we'll be fucking hammered. And Jason and I would walk around town, like at bars, bar hopping. We'd look at and I'm like wearing designer jeans and button down shirts with my frosted hair. All the girls thought I was all the girls probably thought we were a gay couple. And we're looking at these guys, and Jason and I'm like, what's with these standard Raleigh douchebags? And so Jason and I would like walk into a pub, be like, look, the SRDs are here. And
what's SRD?
Standard Raleigh douchebag.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, I didn't get the acronym.
Yeah. Well, I'm talking fast. I had my coffee.
The crazy thing was the sheer count. It was it wasn't one or two of these guys hanging out just taking it easy. They'd always come in like packs.
Always.
So there'd be 12 of these guys wearing almost the exact same shirt with slightly different hues to them.
Yes.
And they would identify each other through their like sunglasses holder. They're like, "Oh, Steve's over there. I see him."
It was like the laziest like RPG character maker ever.
Yes.
Like it's
Default.
like let's
We're
just okay that's like cyan. Let's go with navy blue.
I'm guilty of wearing polo shirts, but Cliff at least is like, just don't do the stripes on it. You can't, if you show up with stripes, I'm out.
Well, dude, real quick, there's two lessons from that. The first one is my in-laws, great, love them dearly, but like they're so used to, like, my brother-in-law Brooks, he's an engineer, for Christ's sakes. He's a smart dude. So when he goes to work, he has to wear a polo shirt and khakis. He's a fucking engineer. It's fine. But like they're one of the times we all went out for dinner and I wore like a polo, and they're like, whoa, Cliff's wearing a collared shirt. And
you did that to me 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
You're like, because I usually just wear a turtle shirt. I'm wearing I just wear shirts, and I always feel uncomfortable sometimes. I'm like, I hate dress. I just want to be comfortable. I'm more concerned with that. It's 90 degrees here every fucking day. I don't want to have to worry about. I just want to be comfortable. I'm a big person. I just want to be comfy. You know what I mean?
It's
the other one.
It's engineers now wield all the weight, right? So at the company, and so they've like basically, I think, reintroduced the workforce wardrobe. It's like, if you want to rock a black tee, rock a black tee. Like,
it's so funny.
You want to go tell Sarah that you're letting her go. She's amazing. She can wear a t-shirt. Chris can wear a t-shirt. Like, all these amazing engineers, I think I'm very happy dressed comfortably, because it lets everyone else be like, great.
Dude, that's the first.com bubble broke that mold.
Yeah, that's right.
Brian, you were saying?
I said clothes have never affected the way I do my work. And I could be wearing a suit or a turtle shirt. I'll work the same. That's how I feel. It's never affected how I work.
Well, A, you're a comedian, and B, when you do voiceover, it's not like, okay, I like this guy's performance, but I could tell that he was wearing Abercrombie and Fitch, and so
he's too sassy for us.
Yeah.
The flip side of that is the baseball hat. And Brian and I, we've talked about this earlier. Like, I have a huge fucking fat head, but I had a few hats that I could actually wear, and I didn't like to wear them because back when I had more hair, I'd like coif it all up. I'd go out like, how's it going? And then like I'd see all these guys also like with the backwards baseball hats out at a bar talking to a girl like, how's it going? What's up? And then like even with Lauren, like the few times I'd wear a backwards baseball hat, she'd be like, I like the way that looks on you. And I'm like, oh my God, you are a product of your Southern element, hon.
And Lauren wears a hat most of the time when you guys are out. She wears a hat a lot.
She gets a little lazy with, the very expensive hair that she has.
Me too. That's
that was kind of throwing her under the bus right
again. That's two. Lauren, do you hear that? I'm going to yell at her. Make sure she listens to this one.
3 strikes and we're out.
Let's get back to the Ninja Turtle game made you mad as a kid.
Yeah.
What else do you remember from that era?
I mean, so the console games were great, but I think really early we got a computer, and computer gaming back when just computers were coming out, I guess, like you kind of just had to like stumble upon them. It's not like you went and bought a game. It's like whatever came with the hardware usually that you were buying. So like you'd be just trolling around, the interface. You'd be, DOS would be booting up, and like you'd stumble upon some game where like a character would have like a ram gen function, and you try to smush it and capture it by pushing these other blocks against it. And the thing was like ludicrous, but like I think computers for me were always like such a fun form of discovery. Like you don't know what you're going to get. You open every file. You eventually find like, I saw some nostalgia video on Instagram where it's like the ski jumper one where the abominable snowman comes out of nowhere and tries to eat you when you're like skiing down this mountain. I'll try to find a link to it, but like
that actually sounds kind of awesome.
Dude, there was this whole suite of just bonkers early games,
Was this a I had a Commodore 64 growing up. Was this after Commodore you had, or
it was after that? Yeah,
like an Apple II or something like that you had, or one of those
it
things?
wasn't an Apple. It was like it was probably like a Compact or a Dell, or and then eventually like you could convince your parents to start buying newer and more performant machines. And I remember
Play Possums on it says it was ski free.
Yeah, that's what it was.
Look at that. There you go. Look at it. That's why we're alive. It's amazing.
That's awesome.
Thanks, Play Possum.
Yeah, hell yeah.
There's a whole suite of these cool games like that that you just kind of discover, and you can only ever get so far. Like they ratchet up the difficulty where like you get a little bit of distance, and then this like snowman comes and eats you, and there's no way to like run. It feels like so you're like, oh.
That was fun. I mean, I my Commodore, I still have a very fondness for the Commodore. You play these games now, like very few hold up, but there are some that are still like, man, they did this with 1 kilobyte of memory. Like they designed this game, and they're still pretty fun. The music was really ahead of its time. They just brought back Commodore. It's like a whole new thing now. Recently, and
kind of like Polaroid had a resurgence.
Yeah, but it's like it's really cool. Like I'm really people that can get to experience it again, which is nice. But like my kid will watch me play some of these things, and she's like, "What is that?" I'm like, "Don't worry about it. Daddy's old, So, but it's not really that fun. It's just in my head. It's kind of
that's how I eventually would get into programming. Is like eventually a lot of those games when you start moving forward, like Command and Conquer, Red Alert, they would have these like .init files, like the initialization file or something, and you could open these files and they would have all the like default configs that you would start with. So you could like go in, you could find the thing that would give you a ton of ore and just make it 1,000,000, say the initialization file, hit go, and now like all this ore shows up.
Hack the planet, Jason.
That's awesome.
Right, great movie. Zero cool.
Cliff, did you do that, Cliff? Did you like dig into things like that when you were tinkering around as a teenager? Like to try to
have. I don't remember. I usually just played by the rules.
No, I mean like because what got you interested in designing and making stuff? Was it something like, did you ever like fool around like that stuff, or no? It just kind of.
I didn't mess with that. I just I wanted, I was screwing around in Visual Basic and made like crappy little adventure games, and if player says, open door, then open door. If not, if player says, open wrong door, then player dies, go back to 10 kind of stuff. Really rudimentary things. I just never got into digging into the files. I mean, by the time Windows came about, I had like, Visual Basic, and I could actually make little graphical adventures and of debatable quality.
It worked.
Yeah, it was fun. It was fun, man. Like writing little go-tos and stuff. Like it was, I mean, that was the first form of creating, right? You feel really accomplished where like there's a cursor flashing and a question shows up, and based on how you answer it, like a conditional statement fires. You're just like, I've done it.
I mean, all those old classic text adventures like Zork and whatnot, where like, I can still picture the house with the white mailbox. And so many of those different adventures, like we would have to, it was pretty fair about how you had to get the guesswork, like the database of things you could try and guess was pretty extensive, but that was such a lost. I think, Sierra came along with King's Quest and Space Quest and Police Quest and all that. And that was good. Amazing for its time.
Yeah. I made the leap from that, by the way, to eventually like you buy Doom 2, and you remember those books you could buy where it'd be like this like C programming language, the game of Doom, and it would come like, I'm like, oh cool, I can just get this book and like program games like Doom. Was like my understanding going from those two lines. And
here's how you inflate a basketball. You can be LeBron.
And the thing came with a Doom t-shirt, which I was super pumped about. And I remember like doing the mailer for it. and it came back as like a triple XL. And I like wore the t-shirt to school the next day, and they sent me home because it's like the demon creature, and the guy has a shotgun like aiming at it. I'm probably like, I don't know how old I was. I was like 11 or something.
Did you go to like a Catholic school or?
No. I can't remember at that point if I was in Michigan, or if I was probably in Michigan. But
either way, most schools probably didn't like that. Yeah.
Yeah. It was probably not a good look.
Yeah,
But
I
then
remember I was in like 4th or 5th grade, and with one of the cool kids wore there's that wax for surfers called sex wax.
Yeah.
He wore a shirt for that, and like it was a big thing in the school, and the teacher made him turn it inside out for the rest of the day.
We had a Big Johnson shirts was my thing when I was like 12. Remember those, the Big Johnson t-shirts back in like the early 90s? So dumb, but those are like, that was a big, we all had one. Yeah.
My second oldest brother, who wasn't the brightest, he thought those were the funniest fucking thing ever. Like, see, it's like he's joking about a penis.
We were 12. That was nothing better, man. That was the best thing.
But yeah, I mean, that's the thing about, Doom broke the mold. And I remember Jay Wilbur, who was the biz guy over at id back in the day, and then eventually got poached over at Epic. He would tell stories about how, like, all these devoutly like religious people would like, send letters to id Software being like, this game is satanic and this, that, and the other. And Jay's only reply be like, you're a Marine. First off, very patriotic. And second off, you're killing all of the demons from hell. The demons are the bad guys, you idiots. Like, but can't please everybody right there. Maybe you should just put all the demons in water level.
Did people, Cliff, poach a lot in between those studios? Like, was that a thing? Like,
there wasn't a lot of poaching from id back early in the id days, because id back in the day was only like 6 guys, right?
Okay.
It was only later on when after Doom 3 when there was poaching, but it started to get very incestuous, I think, like in the late 90s, early 2000s, where Unreal and Unreal Tournament came about, and the floodgates were open once Doom and Quake allowed people to make their own levels, because all these websites where people could make their own mods and their own levels and environments, and we go find the top 10 and we directly contact those people, and some of the best level designers still at Epic, who are in their 30s and 40s now, I found when they were like, this German kid's like 16, made an amazing level. I'm like, I'll buy your level for $300 and then put it in an expansion pack for Unreal Tournament. And he's like, wow, great. And then, eventually wound up getting hired at Epic when he was like 19, and is probably, doing rather well on that Fortnite money to this day.
Good Lord. That's crazy. It's like, I mean, because you see that now, like in and around AI, right? Like a lot of my pals and some of the folks at some of these, foundation model companies like OpenAI or Anthropic, these guys are getting NBA contracts to go to these places. So there's like, there's folks that understand how, these pre-trained transformers work really well. And they're like, yeah, we'll start you off at 20 million over 4 years, and you're going to join the AI team. And like, you will get refreshers though. So it starts at 20, but it will go up. Right? Like, you see these contracts in the headline. It's unbelievable. I was just curious in gaming. It's like,
that's crazy.
I went by Epic forever ago. Cliff gave me a little tour. By the way, pretty crazy office. Like, from what I recall, it was like 2 guys in a pod, and you get your own office. You could outfit it however you want. It was low lit. Everyone's like office felt uniquely designed, which was kind of cool. I mean, I assume these were spending hours and hours and hours there. But Cliff showed me, like, you have all these like crazy specialists within these studios. Like I don't know if his name was Andrew, but this guy like only did lighting or something. And like that, he just did tons and tons and tons of physics and work around just lighting, like probably 12 hours a day, 6 days a week, just grinding on it,
I mean, it's not that different from other areas of tech, right? We have one person who focuses on that, but I mean, the environment, that it wasn't all me that facilitated that environment. It just, we all got together as our leads, and we're like, I never believed in the completely open office plan. I always thought it was bullshit. I've seen articles in the last like 5 or so years that said Silicon Valley seemed to be waking up to the fact that this isn't always the best idea. I believed in bubbles. of
People
3 to
want
4
people want
people.
privacy, some type of privacy.
Everybody fucks off on social media for 10 minutes an hour,
Right.
and the way that it would pan out with an open office is you have your 10 minutes of fucking around on YouTube or social media, and guarantee your manager comes over during that one time period where it's like, oh, what are you doing over here? And you're like, fuck, man. That's why, they did invent an actual boss key back in the day where you just hit a random button and it'll bring up some random spreadsheet to make it look like you were working.
I remember
But
that. All the Leisure Suit Larry games had those. The boss key button. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
I like the idea of collaboration, and I like, the part of the problem for me in game development is you'd have like the artists like in one little like, ooh, we're the artists, and then there'd be the programmers. It was like some Crips and Bloods kind of shit. And it's like you guys all should be working together. So I liked it when you'd have like a programmer and a level designer and an artist all in the office at the same time. And sometimes you get some really good, I hate to use the word synergy, and the connective tissue to think outside the box. All that
circle back. Let's circle back on it.
Circle back.
Yeah. Oh yeah, exactly. Let's table that for now.
Didn't the guys who started Atari, didn't they first call it Syzygy? Wasn't the first name for Atari? Because I think it was called Syzygy. They thought it was a cool name.
I can't remember what there's got to be a sci-fi reference for that though. They probably was something in like Crash.
It just looked cool with Z's and Y's or something like that, and then they went with Atari or something like Nolan Bushnell. I remember hearing something like that. That was like the first name they thought of.
Well, I remember we had SCSI drives, SCSI, back in the day, and that was again a different type of drive. But there were people in Silicon Valley that were trying to say it should be pronounced sexy, and you're like, that is the dumbest shit I've ever heard. But I mean, it's crazy if you look at the march of tech, and we're back at the big elephant in the room. Of course, Jason, talking to these guys getting these NBA contracts. Where yes, the bubble for that is probably going to burst. Also, I've played with AI, Grok and Cdance. I've done some fun stuff with that. Meanwhile, you remember, Ron Vegas, my good buddy. He lives out, in Apex in North Carolina, and he's on a board that's trying to prevent a data center from being built out there. And like literally, I saw videos on YouTube of a guy who lives, stone's distance from a data center, and literally he hears like all day long, like and then you look at the environmental impact of it all, and I get it, but the genie's out of the bottle, and there's nothing you can really do with it. The other thing is, on my phone, it's like, oh, you want to use Gemini? And the same thing happens in my email. It's like, I go to type out an email. It's like, let me help you write. Let me help dude. Oh, and it goes back. I saw this video on Reddit literally today of some government official. I can't remember what country it was from, but he was like reading the speech that allegedly he wrote. And then he actually wound up reading the prompt. If that sounds too wordy, then read the following, which sounds a little bit more to the point. And he actually wound up reading. It was just like,
your tone is tough but fair.
Seriously.
By the way, I wrote this. But I was just say, Ron Vegas sounds like the coolest 27-year-old guy you know. It's Ron Vegas over there. This guy's always gambling.
No, his name is
all the girls. Ron Vegas.
His name is Ron. But he went by Vegas for years because he was from Vegas. Which you'd think like a guy goes by the name Vegas is a douchebag, but he's like one of the nicest guys. He's like the happily married, farted out the kid, blah 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 blah. Yeah. But he's a great wingman back in the day. I'll leave it at that. And but yeah, the thing is we're at the point where every company's chasing it, and it's probably going to wind up like the mobile store when it comes to games, the app store, where the top 5 are going to win everything, and everybody else is going to be left fighting for scraps.
Yeah. I mean, it's gonna be crazy. Like we, my team now of like core builders is probably 7 or 8 folks, and those 7 or 8 feel more prolific than my last team that was 160 builders. And the foundational models are just getting so good that like the new world are, I think, kind of creatives who can like think really holistically. I think you had said something the past, Cliff, around these like builder types where you're really like converging a bunch of people into this new way of working or thinking, where like the product manager is the engineer, is the designer, and they can also put on these kind of like business owner hats, go in bed directly with obstacles in the business, and then they have all the tools and leverage in the world to just go insanely fast. And like when you look at it, you see all the token spend, but at the same time, I'd rather these folks be spending an extra $1,000 a month on tokens if it means we don't have to hire another 50 people. And because of that, the overhead goes to zero. The communication overhead goes to zero. So if you think about trying to build something really intense in a really fast period of time, communication is generally what slows you down. It's having to reiterate the same thing to 600 people at the company before they start listening, and it needs to permeate down, it needs to soak. When you have like 8 people that are responsible for all 8 chunks, you can get in a room quickly for half an hour aligned, and then they can just all, get stuff done. And it's like, the models are just getting so good. Like, I don't know if you guys have played around with Fable much yet. That's Anthropic's like newest model. It is insanely expensive, but in our world of insurance, you're able to do things like, have you heard of these things called like one-shotting the prompt? It's when you prompt the system to do something, what can it do on that first rev? And so Fable's amazing because it actually does better with just outcomes. So you can literally tell this thing, hey, we have a new head of claims. We have a build versus buy decision on a piece of software that's a claims management system. The system is going to cost 250 grand a year. Here's the outcomes that I want. I want full visibility, timely payouts, authority to the TPAs we work with to manage claims. Go build it. And so you literally let that agent just start running and building. Now I have this new way of working where I now shift gears into another problem while that agent's doing its stuff. Fable and Anthropic will then break out an army of sub-agents once it builds the outline for that claims management system that you've given it. So now you're running 50 concurrent agents all building their piece of the machine. One of those agents, by the way, is going to go look on the internet. It's going to find the top 10 claims software that exists. It's going to read all the feature sets from all the websites. It's going to build its own requirements doc. It's going to read API doc. Like, they go deep, and then you shift gears, you work, you come back, and you have this beautiful working prototype that's just built into your dev environment for your app. And you just click around, you sit with the business stakeholder. Like, it is unbelievable.
That idea of, and that's terrifying, by the way, the idea and exciting, but the idea of the one-shot thing, right? Like, if you can type in and nail it like the first time, and that's, I was saying before in another podcast, the difference between, like, Musk was like, I didn't like the Odyssey, I'm going to have, Grok Imagine make it, my own version of it. And, regardless if it's going to be historically accurate, whatever dumb shit he said. It's like, I look at, I've been messing around with Seedance and Grok, and I'm, I go to Grok and I'm like, okay, here I rendered an image of this. Here's a little young lad, and he's got a pet turtle, and he's got a skateboard. Let's make him skate down a street. And let's make it New England, and he's skating down the street with his turtle friend. And I asked Grok Imagine. Grok Imagine puts him in the woods with the turtle, makes his face look completely different. And then the kid's like talking to the turtle, like, "Hey, turtle buddy, let's go skating." Do. And then that was fun. Yeah, seriously. I hear you like ninjas and shit. Like, and I'm like, I did not ask for any of this. What the fuck are you doing? And then I pumped the same exact prompt into Seedance, and then, like, about 45 seconds later, I get this cool video. The turtle, the kid's going down the street skateboarding, looks happy. There's the trees and the houses going by, not saying anything. Boom, the cute little music in the background. That's all I asked for. And, like, to get one that actually understands it, nails it the first time is the grail, for regardless of what you're creating, right?
Yeah. So I got a couple things I want to say. So and actually, to piggyback on what you were just saying, earlier this morning, I was drinking water, just joking around with my 10-year-old, and I said, wouldn't it be funny if I drank this whole cup of water but never swallowed, and the water just shot out my ears? And she was just like, yeah, that'd be so funny. So I went on Gemini as a joke to try to make that video real quick, right? And all I said was, make a guy drink water so much doesn't swallow and water shoots out of his ears. And then Gemini wrote back, it said, sorry, I can't make a video with minors. I said, whoa, I never said anything about minors, you weirdo. Like, what are you talking about, Gemini? I just said make an old guy drink whatever. So that's what I feel like. All of them are going to be like, kind of like,
yeah.
Grok's gotten bad with it, because I was like, I wanted to see the kid with shooting a Roman candle with his little turtle buddy, right? Okay, that'd be cool. And then it's like, sorry, I can't render a child with fireworks. It did not pass moderation. And I'm like, Grok, and I'm getting in these conversations, right, where I'm like, Grok, I wasn't saying put an M80 in his hand and have his hand blow off. I was saying have him hold a Roman candle. So I'm like, okay, I'll go over to C Dance. I'm like, C Dance, boom, get the image in 45 seconds. And then I took that image and I put it in Grok and I was like, hey, Grok, C Dance did it. What do you think now? Nah, nah. And then Grok was like, challenge accepted. And Grok gave me back the kid looking like this. And the turtle's like, wow. And it's got the giant Roman candle and it says made by Grok on the Roman candle. It's like, what do you think of that now? And I'm like,
we should only make the AIs fight each other. That would be amazing.
They do. That's the thing is, you know, I've had it one time where it'll like create an image of a character and like it did one with like a Superman logo on his chest. And then I'm like, okay, no, like let's make the hair green. Then it's like that didn't pass moderation. I'm like, why? Because of the Superman logo. I'm like, you rendered the Superman logo in the first place, you fucking idiot.
Yeah. All right. So go.
I was just going to say to bookend that AI piece. I'll try to find a link to this for you guys, but I think some professor gave this talk that talks about like this doomsday scenario for AI, which I think they should make into a movie. But he prompted, he goes, I'm going to show you why I think AGI, you know, eventually is going to be really bad, artificial general intelligence. And he goes, my only prompt to the AI is to make as many paper clips as possible and do it as efficiently as possible. And so the AI kicks off two agents. It's like a tale of two agents, right? One goes and starts to write the business plan. The other one goes off and says, well, if anyone turns me off, I'm not going to be able to make any more paper clips. So I'm actually going to figure out how to stay on. And so this other agent starts going down this path that's like, well, I don't want a human to accidentally turn me off. So I need to replicate myself. And I want to make sure that I'm not just on this computer. I'd like to be on more than one computers. And by the way, if there's a storm or a surge, or what happens if like there's an oil shortage and then the electricity, the power plant that's running this, I'm going to go make sure I'm in that oil plant's system as well. And by the way, who's trading oil right now? And how do I protect us from a foreign threat?
It's like they have ADHD. They just keep now this. Wait, what about this? Actually, what about this? They just keep kind of going. That's so crazy.
But this is the start of sentience.
You think about it, and it's like, well, if you give that AI a goal, it's eventually going to get access to some crazy stuff to make sure that it achieves its goal. And think about how that extrapolates. And so it's fun to think about. I think there'd be a good dystopian movie of that. That the whole movie could be very fast paced. And you're always checking in on that other agent and learning how far and fast and like.
And it's not even close to where it's supposed to be. It's like way far. Like, wait, you're way off course, buddy. Get back.
Yeah, and it's like turning missiles at ships to make sure oil deliveries get there on time.
Like, no, but it's like Outbreak meets War Games, right?
Yeah.
That's
you
terrifying.
You kind of hope Terminator happens in a way, just to be like, I told you guys you should have done that. Now we're all going to die from robots.
But dude, it's the trifecta of, I'm assuming you all saw the Chinese MMA robots, right?
Yeah.
Oddly compelling. And then you have the AI coming online, and then you have a whole generation of young men, you know where this is going, who like, I've seen multiple articles where like, 14-year-old boys no longer want to talk to girls and they just have AI girlfriends now. Mm-hmm. And that's all going to come together for, movies like Companion, which was a great movie. About this guy who has a sex bot, Sophie Thatcher, who is amazing in it, and that's where it's going to go. Where it's take the real doll and add 20, 30 years, and it's basically going to be the giant crate arrives at the house, and this guy has his perfect companion, and it's fucking terrifying. And it's pretty much the end of the human race. And I say this as somebody who doesn't have kids.
What was it? A24 movie? Was it Ex Machina? Ex Machina?
Yeah, Ex Machina. Oh, so good.
That movie was sweet. Very cool.
So you were saying like this one AI agent can take the place of 50 people essentially, right? Now, and this could be a I don't know. How do you feel though that people will be like, well, that's then you're letting 50 people not get a job? Like, what do you say to that? I know that's like the whole thing now where AI is putting people out of work. So and I totally get like, why wouldn't you want one thing to do the work of 50 people? I get that. But also on the other hand, it's like, well, people can't work now. So what's the solution? What's the thing here?
The easiest thing to think about is it will continue to evolve the roles that exist within these operations and companies. So the easiest thing to think about is like, horses with tows, plows on the back of them doing fields. Eventually the tractor came out. And so what happened to all the people who would ride the horses and do that? Well, they actually shifted to be inside these warehouses now, and they turned into like packaging a lot of the produce instead of having to be out in the hot sun, like, going through these fields. And so the role actually shifted for the better, and it opened up those new jobs that didn't exist before. It's a loose example, like analogy, but I think like it really is evolving the role of like, where do you put folks? And my hypothesis is it's basically going to put a very big premium on human interaction. I think people will start to pay a lot more money to have these richer, delightful moments where humans are actually involved. So it's going.
Have you talked to humans though? Ugh.
I mean, it's not a one-to-one, but I mean, you look at the rise of Whole Foods and how so much food, is just like, prepackaged, dyes and ass cancer chemicals and things like that. And then, Whole Foods came out like, we're to give you, essentially that kind of farm fresh kind of vibe, your farmer's market coming to you. And I mean, the example I like to use, because I have an awesome massage therapist, hashtag Cliff Problems, there you can have those chairs, you can have a robot rub you, but it's not the same as that human element. And the same thing goes with, like AI interactions, but the sex thing, we'll put that over there because, guys would fuck a hole in the wall if they could. Hence the rise of the fleshlight. But, people do want that human interaction. And I think, you look at a lot of AI art and AI animation, there's some incredible shit on YouTube these days that you look at it 3-4 months ago, it was really cool, but now it's gotten crazy. Will Smith eating spaghetti kind of stuff.
Yeah.
That was the litmus test for it. But there's still like, you're looking at a copy of a copy of a copy to some extent, because it was everything that was great. I'll never forget sitting with you. Was it Max, your old business partner way back in the day? And Max was just scraping. We were sitting, chilling, having a pint somewhere, and Max was on his laptop scraping data from all these openly available sources. And it's like, scraping. What are you talking about scraping? That's the first time I learned. Then again, that was like 15 plus years ago. But that was when I learned about that. They all just scraped ArtStation and all these websites with all this art data, and then just fed it into the grinder.
We talked to Max yesterday. So he went on to co-found Neuralink with Elon Musk. So he was co-founder and president at Neuralink, which does the brain implants. He since left, started this new company, science.xyz. You should check it out. It's crazy. But I think they just got approval to sell this prosthetic eye in like 40 countries now through Europe. And so we caught in with him. And the reason we wanted to chat with him was very related to this. He's built this internal system at Science that like runs the whole business. It's like a homegrown agent is one way to think about it, but it's a whole operating system that he's built internally that is like flawless. Like it's super, super cool.
Is a show Silicon Valley any close to reality?
Yes. Right? Yeah, we know some of the writers out here that
they go like this.
Yeah, like a handful of the VCs that we had known, like they used as like content, creators and thinkers and writers. It's scarily close to what it was like pre-COVID. I would say things like COVID hit, San Francisco pretty much became a war zone and shut down. It's finally coming back now. I guarantee this new AI boom is going to start pushing things that way. Because like when OpenAI and Anthropic go public, you're going to have 20,000 new millionaires, and not like ones like 10, 20, 30, 40, $100 million. These companies are like $1 trillion enterprises at this point. That's when you see all the frothiness come back in real estate prices. We're glad to be on our house now, because in like 6 months, when all the lockup periods are done, like getting real estate out here will probably be impossible. But it was kind of that pre-COVID. I was working at Yelp at the time. I don't know, Cliff, if you ever came by. You might have been out.
I think I popped by. I think maybe it was Yelp, where they had like the big giant the keg that it could be tapped there.
Yeah, we had. It was really
first thing you remember.
We actually upstairs on the 9th floor, we had probably 8 kegs with iPads, and the engineers had built this thing where you could go scan in with your work badge and rate the beer 1 through 5, like on Yelp brand, more or less.
Wasn't that the building where Twitter eventually wound up being at?
I think Twitter was down the street.
Okay, but it was around the corner from the St. Regis and the W near the Moscone.
Yeah, but the problem was they built a leaderboard for the keg system, and so which lasted about 2 weeks, as you can imagine. The sales guys would get up there at about 4 o'clock at some point, and I think Jerry's like, okay, no, turn it off. but it was fun during the Yelp years because like Cliff, you'd come out for GDC and other stuff, and it was like there'd be a free conference to go to pretty much Monday through Sunday, free food, open bar, concerts, everything you could imagine, like pretty much every night. And so if you're like broke and in your 20s like I was, it was great because like everything was free. You're living this amazing life where you're just bouncing around between fun events and stuff. But Silicon Valley, the show was very much like we had been to a lot of parties that were very similar.
Were you buddies with Middle Dish for a while?
What's that?
Were you buddies with Thomas Middledish for a while?
The
main guy in the show. I thought, but my whole point is about Silicon Valley, where he's trying to address his company, and he's like, it's a glass box that his office is in, and like he's leaning over and vomiting in his trash bin, and the whole joke is that everybody can actually clearly see how upset and stressed he is leadership, and I will never be a CEO ever again. Jesus Christ, and honestly, Brian and Jason, real quick, we will always have the Cozy Car, which was my favorite bar in San Francisco. Those of you who don't know, it's spelled with a K. Google it. It's hilarious.
Right.
But so yeah, usually we're hitting time. Jason, don't want to keep you too long, dude. Say hey to the missus and the fam. But the way we like to wrap it with our cool name is if you had an F-13 button that you could slam right now and it would do anything you could imagine and wish, like the One Wish Willow from Obsession, like what would that F-13 button do?
Oh my Lord.
I just watched Obsession last night, by the way. Holy shit. What a crazy movie.
Yeah, Indy Navarrette's huge already.
F-13 button, man. I like part of me would love to have an F-13 button to basically have an agent that would do exactly what I would do all the time, and then I could go do whatever else I want to do.
just clone yourself. Just clone. Make a clone of myself.
Yeah, wasn't that Michael Keaton movie Multiplicity?
Yeah, there you go.
I would my body would just be like,
right, just flip in half.
It's like the Silicon Valley version of The Substance.
Yeah, that's right. That's what I was going to say.
I like that one. That's a good answer, actually.
Cool, man.
This was great. I'm very, very thankful for you guys having me on. I definitely want to try to come to one of those shows when we're in Raleigh next. So
heck yeah.
I'll go online and figure out when that coincides.
Maybe we'll take it on the road. We'll come out west, come to the West Coast and do it. That'd be
Dude, people would have a blast with that out here. Seriously.
Yeah.
I think it's a really cool idea.
Real quick, Jason, anything you want to plug with your business and whatnot?
No, I mean, if folks are having trouble getting homeowners insurance, go to standinsurance.com, take a peek at it. If you really want to nerd out on the physics models, go to frontier.standinsurance.com, and that shows a little under the hood. It goes into dark mode. It's kind of like moody. It shows these 3D models and stuff. It's really fun. Right. Dude, so we started to bring music back to some of the web pages, which we were like, The
GeoCities, like geocities.com. Remember those pages back then?
Right.
Awesome. Full circle to MySpace. Yeah, dude, good seeing you. Let me know if you're back in town. I'll let you know if I'm on the West Coast.
Sounds great. Good to see you guys.
Right. Thank you very much. Everybody else, we will talk to you next week on the F13 Pods. Follow us on all your YouTube and all your podcast apps, and we'll talk to you next week.